Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wareham Planning Board meeting of Monday, December 22nd, 2025. We are commencing at 6 p.m. in the Wareham Multi-Service Center, room 502. I think that's right. And we're available also online on Zoom, and the connection information is available on the agenda on the website for the planning board. So I will start out by taking a roll call to my left.
Mike Baptiste here.
Carl Schultz here.
Julie Moran here.
Sam Colbert here.
And Jane Gleason here, all members present. Preliminary business, we have two sets of meeting notes, one that is listed here, December 8th, 2025, and the second one is November 24th that we need to approve still. I know that I'd like to talk about the December 8 ones first. We just received those, so I would be happy to entertain a motion to move
So moved.
approval to
Second.
next meeting. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Colbert, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye. So that will be continued to our next meeting. And the 11/24/25 meeting notes, there was a correction to be made on those, and if I understand correctly, it hasn't been made yet, so we need to move that to our next meeting as well. So I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a question. And what is the date of our next meeting? January?
January 12 is our next meeting.
Okay, yeah, we should say we're deferring it to a date
Okay,
certain.
can do that. Yes, our meetings are typically on the second and fourth
Tuesday.
Monday
Monday.
of
It's not Monday.
each month.
It's not Tuesday, it's Monday.
It's Monday. Just
I'm
feels
here.
like Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we've got a motion and a second, I believe.
Yep.
So all in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Colbert, aye.
And Jane Gleason vote aye. The next order of business is Project 15-25 or Plan 25-15, 80 Makepeace Company, A&R off Maple Springs Road.
Evening, board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could state your name and spell your name.
Sure. My name's Kenneth Conti, Kenneth Conte, and I'm with Beals and Thomas.
And good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Doug Radigan, D-O-U-G, Radigan, R-A-D-I-G-A-N, and I am counsel for the applicant A.D. Makepeace from Prince Bell.
And as I've been instructed, if you could both raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. So I think that where we left off was with questions of access and frontage. And I believe there were new drawings that were sent out. I believe they were just updated today, is that correct? Okay, so late. As far as we have a,
We have a deadline of Thursday noon for any new information that comes to the board. We tried time and time again. It's been standard practice for years now. We made the motion originally about 3 or 4 years ago. We tried to stay with it. I have not been able to see it before the meeting. I don't think we should discuss the new plans. My opinion.
anybody else on that?
If I can explain the documentation that was provided as requested at our last meeting. Again, I think the real question was not so much frontage, it was access and vital access to allow for emergency vehicles to these non-buildable lots.
Excuse me, we cannot ignore frontage.
No, I've got it in
Well,
my notes.
Mr. Conti just said, excuse me, I inferred from your statement that we weren't going to consider frontage.
All right, my point is only that typically, when you look at frontage and area, you're thinking of a buildable lot. I agree, these parcels do have frontage on roads and adequate area. But we're still stating that they're non-buildable lots, they're parcels. not
Excuse me, I'm
lots.
going to
But I
object to that.
don't wanna get into it if-
No, no,
if you're
but
not
I'm going
gonna
to
hear us
object to
tonight.
that. You're saying they're
Just come
not
back.
buildable, but you've noted on there, they are buildable for solar. And you're going to build structures on there for solar, and that makes it a buildable lot.
Solar's not
So you're
considered-
talking,
Solar's not considered a structure. And that's not we're not talking about that here anyways.
you're saying
Through
it's
the
not buildable, okay.
Through the chair, if I may, I guess just a point of decorum, are you considering this evening? If so, we're happy to entertain. I think what Mr. Conti was trying to explain is, this is a continuation of a dialogue we've had. With respect to the new submission, there is not a change in the meets and bounds, there's not a change in the proposed lots. What we've provided in these additions to these plans are depictions of the access to show this board that it's not illusory access and that there would be appropriate access for emergency vehicles. And so that is, to the extent that there is a new submission today, it is simply depicting where these roads are on the lots that are designated as non-buildable in most instances, and photographs demonstrating what the current state of those roads are, to affirm that they're roads that can be used for emergency vehicles and access for all of the parcels indicated. And that's where we are.
So I guess I would put out there that the board, certain members of the board anyway, feel that they have not had a chance to look over the drawings and take in the information and process it, given that they arrived at such a late date. And we like to have a chance to look at them and think about what the implications are. And that's not been afforded to the board. So that's where I think the problem lies with continuing the discussion tonight.
Yeah,
And that's the board's policy.
right.
It has been for years.
And I guess one more, what I was looking for, and again, getting them this morning was problematic, and I looked at the minutes to make sure it confirmed my recollection. We were looking for road width, evidence of maintenance, load capacity, and recorded easements.
Those, through the board chair again, with respect to, that is not the standard for an A&R plan with respect to roads. That is a subdivision review. In
So
terms of,
the two things that I've got in my notes are access and frontage. Those were the two things which are A&R.
And I guess I would submit
but
that
she's
some of
asking for
this,
something
well,
entirely
some of this
different.
is really the third, which is vital access. And giving us some information would have been helpful, so.
So, to that point, to Mr. Radigan's point, I did prepare a statement which what we have traditionally considered for A&Rs, and I would like to read it into the record, if that's acceptable to you. And also, I would be open, even though we may not take action, to letting Mr. Conti explain what he submitted. That would, might be useful, even though we may or may not be able to act on it.
So we're open to a dialogue here. We're
That-
here
that's-
to be accommodating.
Yes,
I think we are towing the line of, this is opening and feeling a lot like a public hearing. This is not a public hearing.
No,
This is
it
a
didn't-
ministerial action for
Correct.
an approval, an A&R plan where there are no plans presented to anyone to move forward with any building or any construction. In fact, we've designated it as non-buildable. And speaking historically as to what a board is supposed, it's unusual, certainly within your discretion to have discussions at these meetings. But I respectfully think that this is going beyond what that administrative role is.
Okay, so then, in taking Mr. Radigan's comment to heart, I move that we find this a subdivision of land and not an A&R.
Second.
Because
Not
you
an
don't want to
A&R.
have dialogue. Well, I was trying to have dialogue, but
Well,
I don't think it's,
a Superior Court will very quickly overturn your decision.
great, that's fine. Let the Superior Court do that. I was going to tell you what we have traditionally done for A&Rs for every application. And we're not holding you different to anybody else.
I will say that
I
this
can
is
show
a-
you 5 A&Rs that this board has signed, very similar to this, and there's not been, we have not gone through what we've had to go through to show you.
I think we've come up against some unusual situation or unusual conditions with this.
I don't think so.
I think we have. I think that access and frontage are not clear on this, and that's where we're struggling.
And that's where it's not an A&R.
Either that or those two questions get remedied in the design that's being presented as an A&R so that it falls into an A&R category.
So this board can do what it'd like to do. You can't have it both ways. You either have to accept our submission, and then you can vote on it, and we'll take it, or you don't accept our submission, and we
Right.
have to be continued to another meeting. We're happy, and I'm not here to be combative. We're here to solve this and listen to this, but, you know, Mr. Conti submitted this, albeit today, it is holiday week, he's here under the weather, he wasn't even in work today. We didn't hear from the planning board office that, you know, they wished us to move this further. We were open to a further date. There's been no dialogue. We keep coming back for meetings. And I appreciate that this was submitted today. I looked at this for about 5 minutes, and it very clearly depicts what the roads are, what the current condition is, what the visuals are. If this board wants to go out and do an inspection of the roads, we need to hear from you as to what, but this process is supposed to be a very straightforward administrative review, and it's not a public hearing. So,
We're not treating it as a public hearing.
Well, as I said, we're finding that the very limited list of requirements for an A&R are not in the eyes of the board being met. And that's where the conversation has come from.
but to start this, as you have a submission rule for public hearings, and I appreciate that, but these
It's
aren't
not-
even typically
it's-
handled in this
It's
form.
not just for public hearings. It's a courtesy to the members of the board because we're all volunteers and we need time to look at the material before the day of the meeting. I spent the day in the planning office, so I didn't have time to really look at it.
So if we could just, and I appreciate there's a lot of people waiting here this evening, so if there are other things you would like us to address, and if you want to continue this to the meeting in January, we'll do it by agreement, but, you know, that, we're here to listen.
Okay.
So we do have a motion on the table.
And a second.
Do you want to act on it, or do you want to, if we're going to continue it, I would like to read what I believe the standards are we have looked for A&Rs, so at least the applicant knows where I'm coming from. And I believe the board is coming from, and we have, and I appreciate Mr. Conti's statement that other times it hasn't been consistent, and one of the things this board has been trying to do for the last 18 months or so is to become consistent, to not be arbitrary and capricious, and to be clear and open in communicating our expectations with the applicants. And I also did come prepared tonight to support
What's his
Sam. I have a list of the meetings where we have publicly stated for the last, since 2023, the need to get this material to us by Thursday. And it's unfortunate that when you submitted it, no one said that to you, but I have the meeting dates to refer to where this has been discussed in public, and it's not a public hearing issue, it's a courtesy, as Madam Chair said, so that we get time to look at. So it's unfair to the applicant for you to come here tonight And I apologize. I wasn't trying to be combative. I apologize. Not trying to be combative. So what would you like to do? I can withdraw my motion if you want to continue, but I think that I should at least,
I think if you, for the moment, withdraw your motion, let's read through that. I think it's good to have the public hear that again, or maybe for the first time. But I think it's good to get what we're working with
Right.
out there on a
and,
regular basis. So,
okay. So I withdraw my motion.
and if you want to go ahead and,
All right. So in an attempt to be clear and consistent, and I can cite some cases where we enumerated these, particularly for an A&R, and we actually requested the applicant to go and build the road to meet these standards. So it would be unfair to that applicant if we weren't consistent. So in general, the town of Wareham defines a qualifying or adequate way primarily through its definitions of a street and the criteria for an A&R eligibility. According to the zoning bylaws, a street is not merely any path of travel, but must be a way dedicated to public use by legal mapping, a way certified by the town clerk as maintained and used as a public way, a way shown on a previously approved and endorsed subdivision plan, or, and not, I don't think that applies in this case, a way in existence before the subdivision control law took effect in May of '51. That, I don't think, that may apply in this case, but I don't think that's been stated. The regulatory intent here is to ensure that any lot created has frontage on a way that can be actually traversed by vehicles intended to serve the land. Beyond the literal text, the Wareham Planning Board have established a functional performance standard for adequacy known as vital access under this interpretation. A way is only adequate if it can safely support public safety vehicles. Weight capacity in the past, it must support H20 loading, which includes fire apparatus between 40,000 and 75,000 pounds. Width and clearance, while specific widths for all ways vary, the current safety standards mentioned by the board is 20 feet to allow vehicles to pass side by side. And for specific high impact uses like battery energy storage systems, access roads must be at least 20 feet wide with a 16-foot vertical clearance. Surface condition, the way must be an all-weather surface where vehicles do not get stuck in the mud. And to that end, I didn't write them out, but we actually had standards where we articulated substrate, and which would apply to a subdivision road, but we've held that as an understanding of what an adequate way would be. And then finally, I think even from discussion last week, it contains, the way would not be adequate if it contains culverts that cannot sustain the weight of the pumper truck. It's frequently gated and locked, preventing immediate emergency access. And then we talked about frontage according to the zoning district. So those were things that I have been looking for. Now, I did take a chance to look at the plans, and I could not determine all of these things, although it was cursory. So perhaps if we do allow Mr. Conti to speak, he could at least consider some of my comments and comment on them. That was,
thank you.
does anybody on the board think that I've misrepresented what we've been trying to get to?
No,
No, great job.
No.
that is what is written for us to work from.
So through the chair, just so I can kind of summarize, and this was helpful, thank you. So it's the position of this board that any way to be considered for an A&R plan has to meet subdivision guidelines for the town.
I didn't actually say that, but what I did say is when we consider the adequacy of the surface, we have looked at the subdivision definition for surface and substrate.
I'm just trying to understand if this board's position is that the road has to meet.
Yeah, 20 feet wide, it has to be passable, H20 load conditions, and it has to be passable. That's what we've been trying to,
Under vital access.
under vital access.
Right.
So I think based on those comments, what I'd like to do is I'd like to continue this evening's meeting, given the lack of time we gave the board. I will speak with Mr. Conti on whether we wish to be heard at the very next meeting or shortly thereafter, given the holidays. We would agree, on behalf of the applicant, to continue the abeyance of the A and R, taking effect administratively as a matter
you.
of right,
Thank you.
until we're heard at a further hearing.
Madam,
I think what we should do is put you on for the next meeting, so that we have a date specific. We're supposed to have a date specific, and we can amend that if we need to.
I do have a question for the applicant.
I think given where we are in the time, maybe the meeting after
The meeting
that.
after,
Yeah.
okay, so the
26?
26th,
So-
the 26th of January.
So, that's okay. I have a question, Madam Chair, for Attorney Radigan.
Yes.
I apologize for missing the last meeting, although I certified that I did listen to the audio tape. When we had continued the first meeting, you stated that you were going to provide court cases that would clarify some of these things. I listened to the last meeting, and I didn't hear any court cases that made me rethink any of these things. Did I miss something?
There was a memo, a letter I provided to town council. I had a subsequent conversation with town council directly, and we discussed those cases, so I didn't have any further direct interaction other than through your council.
Okay, so I didn't miss any. So,
Well, I did have a discussion regarding that, and I don't want to state what town council and I had addressed.
no,
but-
I meant, I didn't miss it at the meeting, right? I listened to the tape.
No, I think my presentation at the meeting was limited to the scope of the letter I presented in talking about not a buildable lot and not triggering subdivision and what the role was. And I think town council and I were in agreement, and with respect to Mr. Conti's, and I understand the board may have a different opinion, but we had taken the comments to be, address what the vital access looked like, because town council, and again, we can go back and listen to the meeting, said that vital access is what had to be addressed there, and it couldn't be illusory.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something. Do you,
There are cases cited in the letter I sent, and I had also discussed cases with town council as well.
okay. And Madam Chair, did we get advice from town council that these standards
No,
are at odds with those cases?
no.
Okay.
We
that-
did
so-
not get counsel.
All right, so I thank you for that. I respect your opinion, and so I haven't heard anything that says I should change my opinion here on these standards at the moment.
I can address those at the next meeting, so certainly, I think to do it now would,
That's fine, and if he is going to address it, I think we should have Rich
Be here.
be here, or
Yeah.
like he did last time. I
Yeah,
think he was there.
online's fine. But we may do that at our discretion.
understood.
And obviously, to the extent you submit something in writing, we'll make sure we get it to Rich forthwith, so.
So I will accept a motion to continue to January 26th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye. So we will see you on the 26th. In the meantime, I hope you feel better, Mr. Conti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
You too. Next item, item 38-21, David Andrade, 69 Great Neck Road, release of lots from covenant.
That wasn't on the amended agenda, though.
Yeah.
Agenda.
Good evening.
Oh, sorry.
Nor was I.
I
Yes, I
downloaded
looked.
the amended agenda that was posted.
Yes.
One second, just so we could do something.
No problem.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I can fill you in on,
Yeah, I took mine off the website.
I did too.
yeah, I took mine off the website too.
Had Pierceville Road and East,
That's
two
what I had.
East.
Yeah.
That's all I-
Got added in, that was the,
What time did it get added?
well, I printed this yesterday.
Huh.
Whatever, I
Yeah.
went this morning and downloaded the
So did
one
I.
that said amended, and it wasn't that.
It wasn't that, okay. Well,
Okay.
I can,
You-
so I can tell you that,
You can,
Yeah, what's the property, what's the address?
the address is 69 Great Neck Road. And Mr. Andrade, who's here this evening, actually, can you state and spell your name for me?
Sure, good evening. David Andrade, Andrede.
Thank you.
and which project is this?
This is for 69 Great Neck Road.
What's the project number?
Oh, excuse me, 38-21. And,
Is yours on?
1921 case, or 2000?
No, you don't have it either.
yes, well, it's a release of the lots from covenant.
Okay.
So the
Oh.
bond amount has been reviewed and approved by Allen and Major. The bond is in place.
Bond is in place.
Bond is in place.
Actually, Madam Chair, if you want me to just,
Yeah.
I can give a pretty good explanation
Yeah,
of
That
what
would
okay.
be good, thank
where
you.
we,
That would be
where
good.
we, what we've done and where we've been.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Shell Point subdivision, again, 69 Great Neck Road. Mr. Andrade had come before the board, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago or so.
Yeah,
It was
almost
fairly
a year
recent.
ago, yeah,
Over a year ago now.
almost a year ago, I think, yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
At that meeting, we talked about the necessity of establishing a bond amount, having Allen and Majors review it, and noting other parts of the covenant that still had to be met at that time. Specifically, one of the other requirements of the covenant at that time was a homeowner's documentation needed to be filed at the Registry of Deeds. Your decision actually said no lots shall be released until that document is recorded. So Mr. Andrade presented a bond amount that was reviewed by Allen and Majors. We have a letter that was shared to the board by Allen and Majors,
When did we get that letter? Because I don't remember seeing that letter.
It's probably posted.
I didn't go look for it
I know, 'cause
because
I
it
didn't.
wasn't on the
Yeah, I
agenda.
didn't have it on the agenda.
So when was that letter distributed?
Sure, one sec. It would have been in July of '24. No, hold on.
No, because at that point, none of these conditions had been established, if I remember correctly. That was the action item that needed to happen.
No, Phil had presented a letter to the town July 3rd of '24.
So a year
That
and-
said all the conditions were met?
Nope, that the bond amount and a 25% contingency that was required looked good. So the remaining construction that needed to be done and the value that was presented with a 25% contingency in the amount of $349,030.48.
All right, Madam Chair, I'm not prepared to discuss this. But you can continue. I'm just looking for the data.
When did this get on the agenda?
I'm not sure.
It was amended Thursday.
Yeah, but, and I downloaded that's what I'm gonna try and see, did I download
I downloaded it this morning.
I did as well.
Sorry, Josh, I didn't see this. I took it off the website.
I have the amended agenda posting from the website showing it.
Hang on, I'm just trying to get caught up.
Yeah. So somehow, I didn't see that.
And I have
Apologies.
the clerk's posting of the amended agenda of December 18th
Okay.
at 1:48 PM.
Okay, so,
Well, for the record, I didn't get it.
So, Jane, so we're looking to release the,
So you're looking to release
releasing the lots?
the
All lots or one
covenant,
lot today?
all lots in replace of the performance bond.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
just went to the bottom
And-
downloaded that. Let's see.
The performance bond that was presented by Mr. Andrade was
Yep.
reviewed by Alan
But see, I-
Majors. And the only reason that it didn't get approved at that time was
Yeah.
there was no homeowners association documentation recorded at the registry.
I see how I made my mistake. If you bring up the page on the town website, the very last line is, here's the agenda. That's what I clicked on. Embedded above that is the amended
I
agenda.
did the same thing. Okay. Future state, I guess we'll know, yes.
And then there's no hyperlink here, so I can't go get the
Sure.
materials.
Okay,
All right, you can keep going. It was on the agenda properly.
I apologize, didn't see that.
No, that's why we go through this, to make sure we're,
Okay,
So, from what I can understand, at the very previous meeting, be it, probably summer of '24, the only thing that was missing at that time was the homeowners association recorded at the registry of deeds. Mr. Andrade has actually taken it a step further by proving that the bond is in place before it even gets approved by you guys.
Okay.
Normally that happens afterwards. So with the homeowners association being recorded at the registry, it would at least be the planning department's opinion that you could release the lots.
Any discussion?
Entertain a motion to release.
Second.
Any discussion? Carl, any discussion?
no, we had my discussion. I'm
Yeah, all right.
inadequately prepared.
I will take a vote.
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Carl Schultz abstained because I'm not prepared.
Julie Miranda, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye. There you have it.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
You
Same
as
to
well.
you.
You as well.
I know.
I spent hours today getting ready.
Like my wife, I sat down for 2 hours and started reading.
Moving on to continued public hearings. The next one is Project 3-25 or Plan 25-4, Rick Valente, 1031 Pierceville Road, definitive residential subdivision. Good evening.
For the record, Niall Zager from ZF Consulting Engineers, NYLESZAGER.
Thank you. And could you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So it was brought, well, a couple of things have been brought to my attention, that the 53G account has been funded.
Yes.
Thank you very much. and that Concom was, the Conservation Commission was considering the project, and absent a quorum at their last meeting, they needed to continue the project.
That's correct.
So, does that mean that you wish to continue with us as well?
Well, I guess I would like to discuss with the board. I'm just not very aware of how the process goes with, because every town planning board is different.
Sure.
We just wanted to make sure before we do continue to have any discussion, we believe that everything as far as, your consultant has reviewed the plans and that everything has been addressed. But we just, before we continue, if we were to continue, we want to ensure that we've addressed everything from the board's concerns. So that way, if we do have to address anything, we can do it before the next meeting.
Yeah, so the two things that I have that remained outstanding from our last meeting were the 53G, which we've settled, and the other two outstanding items were the sidewalks, which we discussed at the last meeting, about being two-sided up to the end of the houses on the right-hand side of the road.
That's
And then
correct.
one-sided for the rest of the way and remaining on the left side, so that they really are serving the houses and the people in the houses.
The plans that you have before you were revised according to that, and they were also reviewed, I believe, by your consultant, and I believe they in agreement with the changes as in front of you.
Okay, and then the only other remaining item was the HOA,
Draft of the HOA.
and having that structure put together and recorded.
Okay, so is that something that you'd like to have before you to review? That's not something I was aware of, so I will
So
make
it's a
sure.
matter, it's a matter of registering it with the Registry of Deeds.
Understood. No, but is that something that the board would like to review ahead of time, I guess is the question?
Yes.
And do you have a format that you like, or is it just,
Well, I think there, if I might, Madam
Yep,
Chair.
yep.
There were a number of things that we talked about, the sidewalks and snow plowing and particular maintenance issues that are, I know, important to the subdivision. So those were some of the things that we were looking at. There certainly are a whole host of homeowner association forms that are available.
understood.
But if you could look back at the Allen Majors reports, comments that were made, it will give you, I think, highlights of what the board is concerned about around HOA, what the maintenance requirements are, so there's no confusion with owners of lots.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to make sure, we've dealt with HOAs many a times. If you had something specific that you would like us to follow, then we would do so. If not, we'll come up with something that we feel is fit.
Yeah, I think the previous discussions with the board are really where you would find what we're interested in.
Yeah, understood.
So,
Okay.
Madam,
No, go ahead.
Madam Chair, through you to the applicant. Well, first to you, we do need to take up the issue of the waiver for street trees in our final, I don't know that we've
Okay, I
discussed
missed
that.
that.
But generally, we make some accommodations for street trees. We just need to.
If I recall correctly, there was discussion about the street trees and
I don't know.
about them being on the properties.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that we were definitive in our mind, but it's just something that I
Yeah.
think we should just make sure we're closed on. And then the other thing, we were talking about a street light at the end, and I don't know where, did the latest plans have a street light at the end of the road, at the intersection? I thought that's what we requested.
Right.
And then we agreed that within the subdivision, it was going to be the things at the
Driveway lanterns.
Driveway lanterns, yes. That I remember, but I thought we had also said we were gonna put a street light out at the main intersection. Is that correct? I believe that's where we left it.
Yeah, William Conway, Senior Consulting Engineers.
Thank you.
So we have the light on the utility pole at the entrance of the subdivision.
And it's on the plan now?
Yeah, it's shown on the plan.
Okay, I
Okay.
just have to go back.
Yeah.
So
And
we
then-
all agree that that's what we want to do?
Yes, sir.
I think that as far as those street trees go, in the HOA language, there probably ought to be something that says that whomever, and somebody needs to be selected, who's going to replace any of the so-called street trees, even though they're on the private individual's property, so that the street trees are maintained. I guess that's what the board is interested in, where it's not on common land,
Understood.
that it's on private land when you're selling the lots. We just want to make sure that those street trees are maintained. in
You might think about how that,
writing.
legally, how you might do that, whether
Yeah.
it's an easement or
I'm not telling you
license.
how to do it, I'm just
Easement
saying that
license,
we
something.
just want some assurance that that
Yeah.
is,
And we'd like to see the HOA before the meeting.
yes, yes.
In other words, we'd like to read it to make sure everything's there that we've talked about.
And that's what I was asking. I
Yeah.
understood. I agree. I understand that the board would want to review it prior to, so is there I heard, from one of the previous meetings, the Thursday prior to the meeting, is that generally what you like?
Thursday before.
Not generally, that's what we
The
require.
Thursday before
Okay.
the meeting.
By Thursday midday, and Thursday at noon
Yeah.
is good.
Okay.
After that, we just don't have time to collect everything and be able to absorb it. So-
Understood. We just want to ensure that, again, I don't know if that'll happen prior to the next meeting, but what we'll do, I'll try to reach out to council for our applicant and find out if that's something that can be done or not. And if not, we'll respectfully ask for a continuance.
Well, so how are we doing on the schedule for our next meeting? Are we filling up, or should we?
We have two, right now we have two projects, County
Okay.
Road, Cranberry Highway. So we could probably fit it on the 12th,
Okay.
given that.
Do you think you'll be ready by the 12th, or do you want to go to the 26th?
I would like to ask for the 12th for now, if that's okay.
Okay.
And then if we don't have something by that Thursday prior, whatever that date is, if it's the 9th or 10th or whatever it may be, I would like to ask for a continuance from that. if I
Okay,
could.
so just so you know how the continuance process works, if you can let us know again by that Thursday, because we put out the agenda, that would be helpful. And if you could be present, and it can even be online, just so that we can set a date specific for the next hearing that
We
you
need
will
that.
attend.
Yeah, because you have to agree, we have to
Oh, no,
vote.
I understand. So I would request, if we're going to continue, I'd request to go to the 26th, just
Oh.
because I don't
That's a
see
good
as
move.
how,
Okay.
I don't see how
Okay,
we're going to,
it seems like 2 weeks is a pretty quick turnaround
especially
for
with the
what.
holiday.
Holidays, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So the 26th,
Absolutely.
I'm not you, but it seems like it might be a little
No.
more doable.
Thank you.
So, okay. So I'd entertain a motion to continue to the 26th.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
And Jane Gleason, aye. So
Thank
we
you.
will see you on the 26th. In the meantime, have a good holiday.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm writing it down. I'm taking this.
Just trying to keep up with,
Yeah, no, right.
Next item, item 12-25, or Plan 25-13, 2 East Boulevard LLC for site plan review. That is 2 East Boulevard.
A lot of paper.
Good evening. If you could all state your names and spell them for our Scrivener.
I'm Bill Madden from GAF Engineering, M-A-D-D-E-N.
Thank you.
Don Cornish, Atlantic Boats, C-O-R-N-I-S-H.
Mike Cornish, 2 East Boulevard, C-O-R-N-I-S-H.
Thank you. And I suppose I should, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you. So this has been a complicated one. Sorry.
Where do we start?
Where do we start, exactly? Where do we start?
Do you want me to just tell you what I submitted on Thursday?
Yeah, that would be good.
Maybe a start?
That would-
You know,
yes.
we were in receipt of the review letter dated December 8th from Allen and Major. And what we did is wanted to offer a reply to that letter in advance of this meeting. I think I submitted it on Thursday to the planning board office. And, you know, I know that we received I think we received another piece of correspondence from an abutter on the 15th or so. You know, what our goal was is just try to get as much of this information addressed as quickly as we could, just to keep things moving. The major reason being, with the Allen Major letter, you know, there was a couple of items that were brought up that were, it was pointed out that we needed to obtain variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals on two particular items. One, we eliminated from consideration because we provided the landscape buffer. The other one still remains. And then there was also a special permit that we needed to request from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So my objective at the time was try to clean up the items that didn't require further action by another board.
Right.
And put those actions put those things on a piece of paper to give the planning board adequate time to evaluate these things, understanding that there's going to be a time lag between the time we receive or don't receive approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals and need to come back before the planning board to continue our hearing on site plan review.
Madam Chair, through you to the applicant, on this very point, so are you in agreement with Allen and Major's contention or statement that you do need to go back to the ZBA for those two items? Was that your conclusion?
Yes.
Yeah, so you agree with that?
We don't see any way of moving it forward other than going that route, and it was legitimate comment, and what have you, and yes, we
Okay.
agree to address.
Because that was going to be one of my questions for tonight. Do we need to actually do that? So the answer is yes.
We concluded that we do.
Thank you. So good. That answers most of my questions for
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think.
Well, keep going. Because we were on that point, I thought I would
Okay.
just ask.
Well, that was the major thing, because that was the hangup in getting this thing moved forward and having the planning board complete the review of the site plan review. There were about 16 or 18 items on the list from Allen and Major. My reply identified the ones that were resolved. I didn't go to the extent of writing out each one of those comments like had been done previously. But like, for example, item number 2 on the Allen and Major letter, that had been previously resolved. And that's what we noted in our reply letter. Let me just get the next page. Item number 3, I think we might have had a little bit of a difference of opinion on that, on surface and on curbing. You know, the zoning bylaw talks about providing all-weather surfaces and bordering bituminous concrete with the parking stalls, that is, with curbing, cobblestones, timbers, something along those lines. And, you know, we submit that section of the zoning bylaw, 933, that requires those materials to outline those parking stalls. That refers to when an alternative parking service is required, not for when we're proposing standard run-of-the-mill delineation of a parking stall. So that was our reply to that. I think it might have been taken a little out of context if you read that. At least the way I read the sentence, it was for an alternative surface situation. And when we didn't have that, our opinion was it didn't necessarily apply. Item number 4 was the landscape plan being, having trouble reading.
Yeah, Phil's letter said he thought it was resolved.
Yeah, no further comment.
On number 3. I'm sorry, on number
Four.
4.
Four.
Yes, that's what I have,
Yeah.
number 4, no further comment. Number 5, they were talking about the landscape buffer between uses, the use being the house that is to the north of the site, and the existing building being the office building. We eliminated a couple of parking spaces, one on, what is it?
11th, one on 11th and
one on 11th and one on
Ocean.
On Ocean,
Yeah.
and provided the
With the
20-foot
20-foot.
landscape buffer. And that landscape buffer is shown on the plan at 20 feet, is stamped and signed by a landscape architect. So we like to believe that item number 5 was resolved. Item number 6 is the additional perimeter landscaping required around the parking area. That is a variance that we're going to present to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep.
So that will be forthcoming. Item number 8,
That was 6 you
That was
just spoke to?
7?
I'm sorry. Yeah, item number 7,
That's a
thing.
variance.
a
right?
variance application, yeah, it's essentially the same reply as
Yeah.
for number 6.
Yeah.
Number 8A. There was some discussion about overburdening the site with parking and what have you, and, you know, our discussion goes back to the day when that building shared an office or a real estate office and what have you. And, you know, I know that there was discussion that perhaps 2 spaces, 1 per unit, they were looking like 4 4 units, that is, it was looking like 8 might be suitable for that building. But, you know, given the fact that it was a real estate office, it likely use could be another real estate office. We see the need for real estate offices to have a little bit more than 2 parking spaces. Typical closing could involve 6 to 8, perhaps even more individuals when you have buyers, sellers, their attorneys, their realtors. Everybody who has some interest in the action is usually at those closings. So we're basically thinking that the number of spaces is not necessarily overstated, given the fact that we don't know what the final use for each space in that building will be. We did reduce it by 2 additional spaces, so I think we're down to 18 now as opposed to 21. So we did trim down some of the spaces, you know, 4 with that landscape buffer, I think was the major element. Item number B, what was B?
That's the backing on
Backing out.
Republic Street.
There
Their
was
opinion-
parking, I think, within the, C was the backing out. I think the other one was, backing in, and how we're gonna get
Oh,
people to
backing,
back
okay,
into the
backing,
space versus drive-in. And I think supervision, if they have an attendant down at the site for that, that would be one way to do it. And obviously, any other condition the planning board might find to be more suitable than that one, could be put up for a discussion to see what we think about it, and see if we can come to an agreement on what is gonna be needed. And under 8C, that was an issue that had been previously resolved according to the Allen and Major letter. So, item number 9, they were talking about the do not enter sign at 11th Ave. I think what we've done is we've eliminated the parking spaces that could have caused some angst amongst the drivers that might be, you know, navigating on the roadway. So,
That was item 9 we're talking about now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
item number 9, yes. So what we did, or what we're looking at doing now is adding where the do not enter sign is having a yield sign coming back off of 11th, so that anybody that's merging with traffic or heading into traffic rather, that would be coming off of East Boulevard is forewarned. So that's what we did there. And if the planning board was interested in having more signage placed and some painting, pavement markings on the road, like where that yield sign is, if there were some pavement markings or something, we could look into providing those things, all in an effort just to minimize that traffic concern. Item number 10 was parking within 20 feet of an intersection, and, we understand that parking within 20 feet of an intersection is prohibited, but when you, and we're not suggesting that we're gonna park within 20 feet of an intersection. I mean, I don't think that we show anything on our plan that's within 20 feet of an intersection. Per se, the intersection of the two center lines of each roadway is what I'm referring to when we're talking about that. We're talking about that intersection. But if you think about curb on-street parking within 20 feet of an intersection, that would mean that if the parking stall was occupied, that a vehicle would have to be stopped in the traveled way. I don't see how this project affects parking within 20 feet of an intersection. And if someone were to park within 20 feet of an intersection, they would be parking on-street someplace or in a traveled lane. Because that would be the only, as I see it, the only way that you could conceivably do that. And I don't think that it's really a reasonable condition that is going to occur. And, clearly, we're not parking within 20 feet.
Actually, a quick question to Paul and/or Josh. Is that sort of the standard understanding of what an intersection is? That it's the center line of the road? I'm just curious.
Paul Mathis with Allen and Major Associates. Yeah, our understanding of an intersection would be where the curb line is. It wouldn't be center line to center line. It's just wherever the curbs are meeting each other. And because they're parking all over the front of the property, they're parking within the intersection of 11th and East, 11th and East, Ocean and East. So I believe they're parking within an intersection, but again, this is a unique situation, a unique project. So I'll defer to the board how that gets applied.
Okay, I was curious about what the standard is.
For the intersection, yeah, exactly.
For how you determine what, 20 feet from where?
Yeah, I would say it's where the two curb lines meet at a street. It's not the central line.
And I think there's driveway permits that have been issued that are within 20 feet of an intersection. They're not within the layout of the roadway. They're not on-street parking. It's off-street parking when it's in a driveway. So I think it's, like Paul mentioned, it is kind of a unique situation, but I think the intention of parking within 20 feet of an intersection is not referring to off-street parking. It refers to on-street parking. And the remaining, the 20 feet of the intersection, that was the last item, and 11 through 16 have all been
Resolved.
have all been previously resolved. And there were a couple of other things that I wanted to point out, just to talk about parking in Onset. They have this document that's Onset Village Parking that is put out by the town. And if you go through it, the town will issue parking permits to visitors. It'll issue parking permits to to tenants or renters or things of that nature, and they issue permits at a rate greater than what the parking requirements of zoning dictates should be provided. And, you know, therein lies, I think, some of, a problem could lie with some of the parking, just with respect to that. But, you know, I was not aware that that was an issue with Onset Village parking, so when I uncovered it, I thought that it might be of some benefit to discuss it. In that village parking, it runs, you know, May 1st to October 31st. It's just pretty much consistent with some of the other commercial uses you see down in Onset. And there are also some rules that they have, and I thought one of them was parking, the Onset rules, like with respect to parking within 20 feet of an intersection, well, they added a little more to it. It says of an intersecting road that may obstruct emergency, oversized, or standard-sized vehicles from making a safe turn. So that's what
The intent, yeah.
the town parking requirements call for. It's a little bit different than the parking within the 20 feet of an intersection, but that's fine. I
Yeah.
just bring it up.
Madam Chair, through you to the town planner.
Yes.
The document that Mr. Madden refers to, it's not a bylaw, it's not a town bylaw, what is it? And do we need to consider it when we consider zoning?
I think it may be part of the town bylaw as part of the parking program that was set in Onset.
So it's
Maybe part of the town bylaw.
maybe part
General
of,
bylaws?
No? Where else could it be held?
that's why I wanted to go look for it.
Right.
Bill, where did you see that?
I was online looking at parking, and that's where I
That's what
found
showed
it.
up.
It's-
Okay.
It's published, and it
So
showed,
the Department of Natural Resources is the
Yeah, over there.
body that oversees the
Yeah.
parking program.
Okay.
But does that override zoning bylaws or town bylaws, or does it have the force of law?
I'm not exactly
Some
sure how
concept.
it's housed within the town. I'll have to look into
It's
it.
not in the charter, right?
I think so.
It's not in the bylaws. Okay.
The town did a
Point of
study on
inquiry.
parking at Onset.
No, and that, all good, and even this document may be useful. I'm trying to determine if we have to consider it in our site plan review.
Yep. I'm just trying to see how we enacted it. How the town enacted the
question.
parking program is what I want to get to the bottom of.
And
We'll look at that.
just another question,
Good
perhaps.
point, Bill.
Thank you, either to the applicant. I understand that the land in Onset Village is owned in a variety of ways, but there's a trust, right, for some of the land in Onset. Is this property encumbered by that, or this is, so we don't have to worry about that either, right?
that's
the
the
decree of 1916.
Right.
Right.
decree. No, this is not pursuant.
Not pursuant
The
to that.
decree has nothing to do with the private
Thank you.
ownership
I
rights.
didn't think so, but, okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing another
Yeah.
thing I gotta worry about.
But I just bring these up because they're consistent if the planning board wants to consider. I mean, I think that what we're proposing anyway, without parking within 20 feet of an intersection, I mean, we're probably being a little bit more conservative than what the town regs call for. And if it makes sense to continue on that way, that's fine. I don't think we have an objection to that. I mean, it clearly says no parking on the slash or cross-hatched areas, don't block a driveway, you know, just the common sense elements of parking. But seems to me, though, that it's specific to on-street parking issues, not off-street.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big distinction to make between what we're trying to do here, off-street versus on-street. Another comment that was brought up at the prior meeting was wanted to ensure that there wasn't a problem driving over the berm to gain access to the parking stall itself. And I received a letter from, I called Dave Menard, asked him to provide me with a letter, and, you know, he doesn't see an issue with it, I didn't see an issue with it. It's kind of, I think it's relatively routine driving on a berm to enter into a driveway. And I think that the purpose of curb and gutter, berm and gutter, is to confine the stormwater, send it to catch basins and what have you, to prevent any undermining of the pavement edge. So those were, I think, a couple of the things that we spoke about the last time. We also put a letter together to this David Morrow, one of the neighbors in Onset, put together a letter with a bunch of signatures on it. There's around 80 signatures on it. I just included it, you know, because there are some people that feel that the parking arrangement as proposed is an improvement over what exists down there now. And I just wanted that to be part of the record as to where we stand right now. And as far as the drawings go, I think I shipped you off all half-size plans when I submitted them.
So what is the date of the most current drawings?
Revised the 17th,
12/16/25
Wednesday.
is the,
So they're
That's the
dated
latest.
August 12th, the 25, revised through December 16th.
Right.
one other revision on 10/17 of this year.
Yeah. So on sheet number 3 of 4, that basically indicates what we're going to be left with down here for parking. The landscape area that I spoke about not needing the waiver, or the variance for, rather, is shown as that 20-foot cross-hatched area on sheet 3 of 4. And there was another comment that was raised by an abutter that spoke about accessibility to the, handicap accessibility to the restaurant. So we put an accessible stall, another accessible stall on number 2, for the purpose of providing handicap access to number 5, for the main reason that it doesn't fit in front of the building. And we put it in a place where it does fit. We put a separate sidewalk with it. It meets ADA standards, and that's what we've shown on the revised plan. So we have our 20-foot landscape buffer, that handicap thing, the berm that we've shown in 18 stalls.
We just need to be careful that we don't do things that link 5 West to this review, because that's outside our scope. Okay, I understand what you said. Number 5 is outside of the scope.
Right.
And we have to just review everything within, but I appreciate what
Yeah,
you're
but I
saying.
mean,
that you-
where we have the stall on number 2, and
Yep.
we're,
I appreciate that.
okay. And that's what we've decided to do on the plan. And the issue with the variances, you know, I don't know if anybody has had an opportunity to really read what Article 7 says about the screening of 5 cars for parking from adjacent premises. And, you know, when you have a 4-story building adjacent to the parking area, I don't know how that can be effectively screened in any way from the second, third, or 4th story of that building. It's not screened, it's not screened from the adjacent premises. And I think that whole concept maybe even holds true to the entire area. I mean, you know, when I read it, it looked like that was, when I read that in the zoning bylaw, it almost seemed to me that it was just, like we talk about on the rewrite committee, this is a good place for that one. We'll just stick it over there in Article 7. And, You know, I've never seen it. I've never looked at it, but I can see how it works. There are houses, just so that you know, there are residences in Onset Village in the OV1 that screening requirement fits perfectly. And, you know, I happen to have a friend that screens his 5-stall parking area from all neighboring premises in that exact same manner, and, you know, didn't come cheap. It looks beautiful, but it does achieve what was intended to be achieved. I don't think it works for a commercial type of issue, but that's up for me to discuss with the zoning board of appeals. That's a special permit, standard's a little lower than that of a variance, and I think that as long as business can, you know, it promotes business in Onset, I think we stand a reasonable chance of being successful on that one. The other one is the perimeter, 10-foot wide perimeter landscape at the perimeter of the parking area. You know, the project doesn't work with a perimeter landscape buffer. You know, and some of the reasons why I was of the opinion that I wouldn't necessarily call it a lot, but when you look at a parking lot, that is, but when you look up the definition, it's land on which parking occurs, you know, so, okay, well, you know,
It's a
that
parking-
didn't
it's a
really,
parking lot.
didn't really help much, didn't really help much on it, but, you know, other things like a driveway entrance to the parking lot, we don't have one. We don't have an exit. We don't have any signage. Well, we do have signage, take that back, but we don't have the drive-through aisles, the exits and the entranceways that are normally what you find in a parking lot layout. So those are the issues that we need to discuss with the ZBA, and we'll need some time to present, and have a decision rendered.
So, shall I launch into?
Just one other question, Bill. Looking at some of the, you know, what may come out of our further discussions, is it your thought to engage the road commissioners? You know, kind of thoughts on that? To
I
the
actually
extent
have some
we're-
thoughts on
Yeah.
what I would like to have the road commissioners look at.
Right.
But maybe I should go into what my concerns are and what I'd like to see done to address them, because some of those are tied to what I'd like the road commissioners to look at, just, if nothing else, to get their blessing.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any problem with that. I think that the road commissioners probably are likely to want every board to carry out their own
Yeah.
duties and
Yeah.
what have you, and if, probably should be presented to them at some point in time.
Well, they have a meeting scheduled January 20th. East is on the agenda.
I'm sorry?
The road commissioners have a meeting scheduled January 20th with East
okay.
Boulevard on the agenda.
Well, they do.
To know.
Okay, sorry. So,
The road commissioners and the select board are the same.
one and the
Is that-
same.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
It is.
So I had a few concerns that I wanted to talk about. I'm happy to see that the landscape buffer is in, actually, I'll also say that I'm happy at the agreement to go for the variance and the special permit. I think that that's the safest way to dot i's and cross t's. I'm happy to see that 20-foot buffer in there. I see that it cost a couple of parking spaces, but I think that that's a worthwhile endeavor for peaceably putting this into this, or, you know, making these changes in this neighborhood. One of the concerns that I've had was the parking that is along 11th Avenue. And thinking about how I would perceive that as I was driving on it, and thinking that I would see the end of 11th Avenue being one way, happening at a line that forms the edge of East Boulevard as it crosses across the end of 11th Avenue. in further consideration of it, I think that it's quite likely that you would stop or slow down about at the point where that do not enter sign is. I know that there is a yield sign, and I think that if that yield sign were actually on the back side of that do not enter sign, that's about the point where you would stop or slow down, because the left-hand front corner of your car would be about at the line of the edge of East Boulevard at that point. And so that's sort of in line with the plan left side of that first parking stall. So I think that at first I was thinking that we should get rid of all of the cars along 11th Avenue, but all of the parking stalls along 11th Avenue, but I think that it's reasonable to think that you would slow your car about at that, in line with the plan left side of that first stall. That's where that sign is. We could put the yield sign, or a yield sign could go on the back side of that. And I would further suggest that maybe yield gets painted on the road in lieu of what would be a stop line painted, striped on the road, so that you would slow at that point. And I think that would lessen the likelihood of meeting a car coming in off of East Boulevard to park in those spaces, and someone coming along 11th Avenue thinking it's one way all the way out beyond that. I think that that's a reasonable compromise, and having driven around the site and looked at it, I think that that's reasonable to think that it would function the way people drive.
I agree, but can we do that?
Well, that's where I want the road commissioners to get involved.
Okay.
I think that taking that suggestion and that explanation of why that might work to the road commissioners is.
We need really clear signage there.
Right.
To say, stop,
Absolutely,
don't keep
right.
going this
So I
way.
think, there's, the do not enter sign is shown on this plan, but the thing that is not readily evident is, if you're coming down 11th Avenue, you don't see that is the sign, because you're seeing the back of it.
That's
So if the yield sign gets put in that same place, and yield is on the road, the inclination would be at that point to slow and pay attention.
Yeah.
That you're coming into some sort of intersection. So I think that that's probably a reasonable compromise.
We need really clear signage that says,
Mm-hmm.
you can't go this way.
Right.
Right.
And
No turning,
that's
no-
really even beyond this project, but.
We agree.
I mean, even if there's
This
another,
project exacerbates, or
even if there's another do not enter sign on the right-hand side of the
Yeah,
road, of
usually
11th
you-
Avenue,
usually you
in
put 'em
line
on-
with,
you put 'em
it's
on-
on both sides.
you put them on both sides to say, do not enter, or whatever.
Yeah.
We agree with that. And actually, the people that park in those spaces do come from 11th.
Okay, but I think there's a good likelihood that somebody could come from East Boulevard. And I think those three spots, as long as that signage is there, and that's sort of seen as the end of the one-way part,
Sure.
that I feel better about that as a practical solution.
That's a good suggestion to make to the road commission.
Right, so I think that's the first one where the road commission needs to have some eyes on it.
Can you make that recommendation? To the road commission?
I can be at that January 20th meeting, and I will speak with Chairman Whiteside. The next item that I was concerned about was the crosswalk placement and the configuration of the handicap spot that's right at the point where Ocean Ave and East Boulevard meet. And my concern is that I'm worried about putting someone, usually it would be, maybe it's a handicapped individual by themselves, or a handicapped individual and someone helping them into that hatched area that to me is just so exposed to traffic coming in off Onset Ave, that I would feel really, I know I would feel really uncomfortable with my parents who were wheelchair bound at the end of their lives to be unloading them in a space like that. So what I would like to suggest is that the triangular space that is to the right of the hatched area become a planter that is permanently affixed and about, I don't know, 2 to 3 feet tall.
Weighing several thousand pounds.
Yeah, so a car can't go through it.
That's what we'd like to have.
And to curve the face of it so that there's a radius coming from East Boulevard into Ocean Ave, which cars may do. And probably to get the proper radius there, you've got to pull those parking spaces in a bit. But I think that that would make that handicapped spot feel a whole lot safer. And further, I would suggest that the 2 East Boulevard end of the crosswalk move in line with the walkway so that that planter more
Shields it.
fully protects the hatched area.
May I? So I've been concerned about that too. As a matter of fact, when we lined what we have there now, we moved it all in about almost 2 feet from the property line, trying to accommodate that. And I put those barriers that are there now temporarily till we could get all this stuff squared away, because people just drive all over the place.
Drive right across it.
Yeah, we know.
The only thing I don't want to create is a place for trash to be dumped, and that's going to be a problem. But,
Well, I have the feeling that if that planter is done well,
Planted.
it could serve as sort of an entrance to the neighborhood and could benefit the
we've
neighborhood.
always wanted to do something like that. Just wanted to get this all done so we could then do something permanent.
So I just practically speaking, feel that that spot needs to be more protected. That handicapped accessible spot.
Or a curb, maybe, also.
Yeah,
I
there's
think-
no curbing there, so.
Yeah, I
that's
think
why
doing
people
something
cut
of
that-
some,
cut
of
that.
some height would probably be a good thing, so that a car couldn't, you can drive over a curb if you're.
That intersection portion, yeah,
Yeah.
that B portion. Yep.
And I think that I will go back to a comment that I made quite a while ago about there are 2 stalls that have sort of an amalgamation of surfacing on them. One that's right off the corner of the building on the, that's pointed right at 5. And then the other one that's down onto Ocean Ave. And those 2 seem to have a variety of paving materials, and I think that's really not the nicest way to present to the neighborhood. That I think those should be cleaned up so that each stall has a single paving material.
It's easy. It was existing.
Yeah, right. But I think that warrants getting cleaned up.
That's the old plan there.
I think there was one other thing. So this
So that,
paving,
that one stall that's comprised of 2 different materials, the preference would be to have it made of one.
one material would be, I think,
Okay.
a more polished appearance for the neighborhood.
Asphalt or the gravel?
Just one,
Whatever's easiest to maintain.
just one.
Okay.
Not multiple in the middle
Not
of the
grass,
stall.
Just one.
So that was this. I think those were the items of concern, the crosswalk, the planter. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
from
if you would
mine.
present those things to the road commission, that'd be wonderful.
Well, I think that those would go a long way to making this work for you still and be maybe more palatable. And I guess that was the other thing. The other thing that I'd like the road commissioners to weigh in on is the backing or the nose-in configuration of the parking stalls. I'd just like to hear what they have to say. I know that there are some in Onset that are nose-in, but those are on public property. These are on private property, so, and I know that the reason we've all struggled with this so much is that the bylaw clearly is not prepared for nose-in parking around the perimeter of a site. It's just, it doesn't work. We've all struggled with it, and how to do a nose-in on private property project with these bylaws.
And I don't know, I've done a few laps around that whole travel route, whether it's going down Onset Ave, up Hotel, down, Ocean, back up 11th and what have you. And I would have to say that at least 50% of every vehicle that's parked off-site is driven in, not
Off-street.
backed into the space, off-street parking.
Well, I still would like to have them
Understood.
weigh in. Honestly, I don't think there's anything in here that, well,
I don't think
There is-
from a practical point of view, I don't know if it really matters that much, although that we have that in black and white
Right.
that we need to deal with.
exactly.
Right.
And that's why I want them to
Okay.
weigh in.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I want them to weigh in.
Agreed.
And I appreciate the intent of this project is to solve some parking problems in the area. But I also appreciate where the neighbors are concerned that safety issues are looked at and reviewed and
Remediated as best we can.
as best we
Yeah.
can, yes.
Because site plan review, we cannot deny this project. We understand that, but we
That's
can
right.
certainly
Yes.
condition it.
Let's reiterate that.
Yeah, yeah.
That site plan review, we cannot deny, we can
Oh, right.
condition.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Anyone else?
No, that covered my issues.
So what I'll do in preparation of my zoning board filing, I'll likely include most of our discussion that we have tonight on this, just to bring the most current information to their attention. And, hopefully, when we go to this road commissioners meeting, we're able to come up with some other information that might further
Further.
bolster the case of the parking down here. And,
Yep.
I think then all the interested parties, shareholders here would have had an opportunity to weigh in. So I think it's
Right.
going to get flushed out fairly well.
I think,
It already has, but I think it'll be better.
Thank you. Helpful discussion.
anything, anybody?
What about the fire hydrant bill?
The fire district, there's a letter in the file from Onset Fire that have no issue with it.
Does that bypass the law? I have the letter, I understand,
Yeah.
but it is still a state law.
Yeah, and I don't know how the authority having jurisdiction for the fire district weighs in.
I know, I'm just asking the question.
I don't know the answer to that.
May I, please? My discussion with Rich at the Onset Fire Department is that if it was any way affecting out in front of the hydrant, they'd have a problem with it. But beside it, they don't have any problem with access. That's their opinion.
I understand, but it is against the law, and it just cover everybody, does this letter cover us?
It's a good question, and one that we might run by town council.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
Otherwise,
I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, the whole point of this exercise that we're going through with this whole application is to bring this up to meet all the requirements.
Compliance with the
Best
law.
we
And so I think that's one that we would be remiss if we did not
Right.
confirm that what the chief has to say
Agreed.
is acceptable to bypass the law.
But we've also established that they're a separate entity, They're not beholden to the town.
Correct.
So we have to do.
Right, but we as the town need to be able to, without all certainty, be able to say, okay, he said it's fine, and
I'm gonna just ignore it and say we have to follow the law. Pending Rich's,
yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think it absolutely,
Yeah, I want confirmation that it's
the laws
okay
are
for
there
us
to ensure safety, so
to
I
accept
think,
that letter
yes.
over the law.
I
I don't know the
without
answer to
something
I mean, the-
very formal.
Right.
Can's been opened, we need to address it, it's been public, we need to make sure we do the right thing if we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I don't know that that letter would absolve
Exactly.
That's what
the
I
town
would,
if,
yeah, that's a little worrisome.
It's a town
I mean, he's
street.
being very specific to accessing the hydrant and, you know, the accessible nature of the hydrant, can you get on the pumper connections? Can you get on the 4-inch, the 2.5s on the side? Can you get on those? And he seems to be making the,
I understand that. However, I have been involved in cases, and my son is a professional fireman. If the two cars are bumper to bumper and they're still fight, they'll rip the cars apart to get to the fire hydrant. And we'll issue tickets, and they don't care that there's a clear path straight in.
right.
We've all seen those images
No,
of the
but
fire
my-
hose going through the passenger
Yeah,
window.
they wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but I have seen cases where even though they're straight in, it's not, they would prefer to come at an angle and
So
I
we
just-
need some assurance
Yeah.
that the letter from the chief is acceptable.
I agree, it's great, but it
Release.
is a town street, and it is a separate entity, and the whole thing's been opened up, we might as well try to get the best answer we can.
Agreed.
Okay, well, we'll look into that. We'll contact Captain Signer and
well, we're gonna
get
just.
some clarity.
Yeah, we're gonna contact Rich, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk to Rich.
Town
Yeah.
council, and just make sure.
So how much
Time.
clearance have you got right now?
36 inches on the sides and everything in front,
Unlimited in the front, yeah.
unlimited in the front.
Yeah,
Front's
if you come
open.
straight on,
So 36 inches
Side
on
to
each
side.
side.
At least.
And it's
At
supposed to
least.
be
It's actually more than that.
5 feet or 10 feet?
10 feet, I
10
thought.
feet, yeah.
Is it 10 feet total with the hydrant in the middle, or is it 10 feet on each side of
I'm
the
not gonna-
hydrant?
I don't remember.
They're of the opinion it's 36 inches on the side, per side, and we have that.
Well, so, all right, so that's an item that we need to
Good.
resolve.
We just wanna make sure we're clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Concom is still, no, sorry, wrong
That was the
project.
the other project.
Sorry. Start again. So,
Continuance to what date?
June,
wanna
January
continue?
20th, we're on with the road commissioners. Do we want to, how's the
Wait,
26th?
I'm saying, do we even wanna continue it until after
I'm
they've
thinking
met?
after the ZBA.
Do we need to, is there anything you would come back to us with that would be meaningful discussion before you meet with the ZBA? I don't think we have any,
This is what,
Oh, that-
this is
right.
what we're trying, what I was hopeful that we would achieve tonight.
right.
So
So
that
the
we
only
could go to
thing,
them.
I think the only thing we have left is
So
this
you-
question about the
right.
fire hydrant, which,
Fire hydrant, so you're going to the road commissioners and you're going to ZBA
yeah, but I meant there's nothing to discuss with us.
until
You
those are
assume, Bill,
solved.
that
The
you've
fire
got the
hydrant thing
information
we-
that you were seeking, that this discussion has been helpful
Direction,
for you.
yes.
Yes,
Yes,
no,
good.
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it seems to me that it's all been narrowed right down. There's,
Yep.
I mean, the plan board concerns are seemingly addressed
I
in
think so.
concept.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, we'll just have to
Subject to
bring it
looking
full
at the new
circle.
updated plans,
Right.
see what the ZBA, how they weigh in.
ZBA, road
Special
commissioners,
permit,
and the
yes.
hydrant question.
Right,
But we do need to continue to a date certain.
correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But I
worried
would-
about, but it's
it
gonna
could
be, you're
be-
right, it's gonna be farther off than,
February,
so,
Well, no, they have 65 days to hold the public hearing on the
Yeah.
ZBA, so I mean, I'm thinking that, I don't know, it's probably 3 months, literally.
Oh, you
so
think that?
January,
that
February,
long?
so,
hope
and
not,
like the
but,
first meeting in
Maybe-
April?
But
First,
we could
can move it up.
we could get it sooner so that if you get faster progress, but then we could then, if you're
We
not
could-
ready.
we
then-
could continue.
Why don't we do that? Why don't
So
we?
there's like in March, there's March 9th and March 23rd.
I would go on the 23rd.
Everyone in agreement? Does that work for the board?
I move that we continue discussion of 1325, Plan 2513 to East Boulevard to the March 23rd, 2026 Planning Board meeting.
So,
23rd,
second.
March 23rd,
Oh, March 23rd,
2026, that you're correct.
2026,
Yes,
okay, okay.
right.
Oh my gosh, I was writing 2025 everywhere.
But if it happens earlier, we can reschedule earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we could always, if there's space on the agenda, bring it in.
Okay, so,
So,
No, we
And-
can't do
yeah,
that if
we
we
can't.
continue, no.
yeah,
Paul,
Mr. Chair, just a quick question. Do you want us to do the peer review on the revised plans and the letter that was submitted? Because we haven't seen it yet, we could download it and do a review, or do we want to wait until these comments that you addressed today get incorporated and then make one hopefully
And-
final
and we-
review?
And we hear back
I think-
from the
I think wait
ZBA
and
and
do
the,
one.
yeah, the planning, or this, the
I think
the
wait
road
and do one.
commissioners.
Makes sense.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that makes sense
is there
to do
anything
it
that you
twice.
heard tonight that was,
No, I think everything that was
Questionable?
presented seems suitable and stuff, and if you wanted me to add comments to one of your comments on 11th Street,
yeah,
I would consider that if they could add those spaces that are on the one-way section, if they wanted to maybe angle them a little bit to kind of make the cars that are coming down 11th Street angle into the space, that would kind of defer to people coming up east from making that turn. But again, I will defer
yeah.
to the design engineer and to the board on that comment. But that was one suggestion that you could maybe
Yeah,
angle
that's
those
actually
spaces.
an interesting suggestion. So actually, if you do that, if you ended up angling them so that they were approached from 11th Ave, it may
Deter.
help you in getting more, I don't know. I don't know if the geometry would work, but it may help you in getting more clearance around the hydrant. It's possible. I don't know.
Well, if we need it, that would be a good, another
Yeah.
option, at least to apply
Yeah.
to the project.
Yeah,
We'll hear back from council.
yeah, and if, already the way that they're oriented, even though they're really perpendicular to 11th,
It feels that way when you.
they're a little difficult to get into coming from East Boulevard, because it's such a tight turn to get into them. So if they were angled a little bit to 11th Avenue direction, that would make it even more,
harder, yeah.
more of a deterrent for people from East Boulevard to try and get into them. So, anyway, okay,
All right,
good,
so
good
we'll-
suggestion.
Okay, we will wait on doing finalizing the peer review until we get revised plans and.
Yes, I think that makes
But
the
you may
most sense.
make a note, like in your record, sometime in late February,
Yep.
we may be looking for a new
Yep.
comment.
Well, we're usually here every week,
Yes,
so.
you are.
Not every week, every.
We see you often, yes.
I hope you're not here on the off weeks.
No, we usually only show up when there's an item on the agenda that we've done review on.
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have direction.
All right, so is that all? Are we all set for
I think
this
you're,
night?
I think you're all set with us.
Thank you.
So,
All right, well, I'll forward copies of our applications to the zoning board for you as well, just for your
okay.
file.
That would be
yeah,
great.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll have it.
Thank you. All right.
And,
Have a
and
good
just,
holiday.
Josh, to clarify, the application that they file with the zoning board will get filed at the same, in the same,
Same number?
it won't have the same number, but it will be on the same map and lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
will be,
if you go to the address to East Boulevard,
Should find it.
yep,
all of the material for all of the applications
Would be good.
that's correct.
should be there, even though they have different, will have different folder numbers, but it's.
Click under documents, you should
Yeah,
find it.
find it, yeah. That- okay.
My participation in
should
that
be,
120 meeting will be remote. Is that all right?
We have to get invited.
The 120 meeting for the road commissioners?
Okay.
Are the road commissioners is it a public hearing? Is it a planning on testimony? What are they
What
doing?
you know is what I know. That's all I know.
I'll find out. I will find out.
Yeah, there's nothing posted to the calendar yet, so no one knows about it.
Sam apparently does.
We're the only ones
You're
that
the
know.
first to know.
Yeah,
Maybe the road
The secret.
commissioners don't know.
yeah.
A secret meeting.
Insider information.
Okay.
All right.
I looked into the parking program a little bit. It looks like it was created sometime around 2014. It's created under MGL 40, Section 22A, which allows a municipality to create a parking program.
So it has the force of law.
Correct.
But it's
But
not
I
in the
don't know that the
bylaws.
standards of our parking program supersede
Yes. we might-
zoning.
So, note
So-
to self to look at it.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna,
you're saying that supersedes zoning bylaws?
no, I'm saying I don't know that even
Oh.
their parking standards under the parking program exceed, general law.
Correct. Whether they align, either,
Right.
whatever the outcome is. So
More
it's
research
chapter
to be
40
done, but
MGL 40, section 22A, is that what you said?
that's correct, yep.
I'll look at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thanks very much.
holiday.
Good Christmas.
Have a wonderful holiday, everyone.
well. Everyone. Thanks. Thanks, folks.
Okay.
So, we've got the upcoming schedule.
I move that we move to celebrating Christmas and adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
Do we have anything else?
I
I could,
attend,
I could quickly add that Julie and I were at the zoning rewrite meeting this morning, or this afternoon,
committee
excuse
with
me.
the longest name, yes.
Yeah, the committee with the longest name, yes, indeed. And work is progressing, although we have not yet seen a draft. They are really cutting things apart and reorganizing. From the presentations that we've heard, their structure, I think, is going to be very nicely organized and exactly what we need.
And definitions.
But I think they're, yeah, well, just so you know, I think they're only going to get to a certain point, and we are going to continue to need help from them.
Yeah.
And we did find out, I was very happy to hear them say this, that they offer their services to towns when there's a new bylaw or an amendment to a bylaw at town meeting. They will work to interleave it into the zoning bylaw, and I think if we were able to use that service from them, we could forestall having to do this wholesale rewrite.
So Josh,
Substantially.
how do we get a line item for Springtown meeting for a budget line item for that?
Are we premature in doing it for spring, or should we?
No, because the spring,
No.
we got
Yeah, you're never
3 weeks
premature
before
when it
the,
comes to-
this stuff is gonna be
Well,
submitted.
And you know, Carl, that we are going to present at the fall town meeting, not the spring for this.
No, Carl's trying to figure out how we budget for future updates to the bylaw.
Yeah,
As a general
Uh,
proposition.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be, it would be, in my mind, really good to have it as a budget item, that if it doesn't get used, it goes back into the general fund. But that it be,
My question is, how do we make that happen?
And the question is.
Do you put it in your
is the-
budget,
Is the
or?
fall town meeting the better time?
We don't
When
have a
this is
budget.
being introduced, the.
Jo-
while-
Jo-
just-
there
I,
wa- if
the
there-
planning department has a
Right.
budget.
Right,
I have some line items in the planning budget that allow for professional services. I don't know what a bill like that would look like coming from
yeah, no idea.
your
well, no,
office.
I wasn't necessarily saying we have to submit our own bill, but how do we then work with you and Derek to get a very clear line item?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is there may be funds available within my budget that could cover it. I need to figure out what a bill from
need to
a
know
consultant
order-
like
order of
their planning
magnitude.
group would be.
You can't get a big surprise.
Right, if she comes back and says it's $25,000
Right.
to do it, I've just blown my entire budget.
Well, that's why I think we
But-
need to make sure there's enough money in there
Right.
to do this kind of
It-
stuff.
if she comes back and says it's a cursory review, I charge 2 hours a time and it's $2,000, that's probably something I could,
I think we need to start planning for bigger numbers.
Well, so.
I agree,
so we-
but-
Going
what
for,
we
I
don't
think
know
it's
is-
getting more and more complex to live in this world.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
100%.
The
But
question, I guess, would be,
I think that if we can forestall having to do a wholesale rewrite, that's
No, no, I'm
money well
supporting you.
spent.
I want to get the money.
But at the same time, in terms of figuring out how much and trying to figure out a budget, we don't know if we're going to have one article or 5 articles or 20 articles. Who knows what we're going to end up with at each town
We
meeting?
need to start with finding out the number.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think what our experience has proven to us is that there are way too many cooks over the years, so you got what we got. So the question to my mind would be, is there an opportunity to say, every 2 years or so, we are going to ask a consultant to review our bylaws and incorporate anything that we've found that we need to incorporate, rather than saying, let's put it out to a group and they can have at it.
But then we
I
need
think
a
this
budget
showed
line
us
item
that was
every
a huge
year.
mistake.
Every town meeting, we need a line item to say, deal with Brenda's zoning bylaws.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah.
So why don't I do this? I can talk to Judy Barrett, see what one of those reviews may cost.
And
She
maybe
she might have a sense of how much it
what
would
other,
cost her
what
to
other,
roll
what other
one.
towns,
Right,
what other
right.
towns normally set aside for this kind of
Yeah.
work?
Well,
And is it
and she
every
may
2
know what it
years, or-
takes to roll one article in.
Right.
I
Or
wanna
have it, an
avoid
order of magnitude.
Everyone dabbling.
idea.
Because that's where, this is where we ended up with the alphabet soup.
Yeah.
Well,
So many
and if we
And
put
then
5
we-
articles
you-
in.
We spend, as uninformed citizens, hours and hours. I've spent hundreds of hours trying to write zoning bylaws
Yeah.
to very little effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me reach out to Judy, see what one of these proposals may entail. If she says, hey, it's $500 per warrant article for us to go through it, see if it
That's
makes
what-
sense
yeah.
and whatever,
Yeah, sure,
I can cover that no problem.
yeah.
I'm sure she's done this before.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Well, that's why.
I think she admitted to
that's-
doing it.
She
yeah.
said, yeah, oh, yeah, we definitely do
Yeah.
that.
right.
So,
And
then
she's got the
she-
staff to do it.
She,
And if she says 500, budget
yeah,
15, or
Yeah.
just pick a number. If there's
Right.
1, 2, or
1,000 or
3,
Right,
whatever.
right.
yeah.
pick a number.
And while we're on this subject, is the town still moving forward with E-code 360?
I don't know that we ever defined that we were. I think it was something that we were looking into. I don't know if we ever made a commitment to do it.
Is that a software program for the code?
It is how the more, whether it's the best or not,
Yeah,
towns that are moving towards
Digital.
digital bylaws.
Yeah.
Use that, and then you can then, you track changes by paragraph, subparagraph,
yeah,
and it's,
Search, you can do it.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
very effective way to make the bylaw user-friendly.
right.
I think that's
And
maybe
it's
our
one of,
next step.
Yeah, but
Well,
that
but
was
I've been
something the
trying to
town
get
would
that
take on
for
as a whole.
3 years now, 4 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be the zoning bylaw, it would be the
It
Conservation
would be
Commission
everything.
wetland bylaw, it would be the general
General
bylaw.
It would be the rules and regulations. It would be-
Yes,
yeah.
and.
Yeah,
it-
it
they-
would, it
and
would
then
be a
they-
town-wide adoption of this
Mm-hmm.
program,
Maybe
not,
there's grant money for that, Josh.
I'll take a look, I'll see what I can track down.
But it's a way to avoid the mishigash we've ended up with, because it's integrated.
Yeah, they,
They might have
Yep.
thoughts.
and, you know, the other thing Judy Barrett, promised to give us was a template on how to add new warrants into the bylaw moving forward as well. You know, she is reorganizing our bylaw in a way that it is effectively readable by anyone, so you're not looking
No
at it
jargon.
from different perspectives. And then she said she's gonna give us a template of how to add new items, you know, where they would fit, what it would look like as a motion to town meeting. So we don't royally mess it up in the future and have to spend $100,000 to bring her back.
Right, right. Well, that's the hope.
Because it's, the thing we're working with now is very difficult to work with.
Well, it's exactly what Jane said. You've had 7 different cooks working on this one meal, and
Yep.
you know, none of them had the
All
experience
in
of working
different
with each
kitchens
other,
and-
and
right.
yeah.
One's cooking Indian, one's
Yeah.
cooking
So
French. and-
The time was limited, and the scope was limited.
Mike,
and it,
Time was limited and the scope was limited, so.
yep.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, we want to bring Judy and her
Right.
program in front of you guys to give you an idea of what she's working on.
Yep.
So we're going to be scheduling that for a future planning board meeting. Just for her to give you a
I think we
presentation
put
of
it
what
on
they're
the
doing.
26th.
I did, I wrote it down.
I think it
actually.
was, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there going to be there has to be public hearings on this as well,
Oh, yeah.
because it's got to go to town meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have to
That
do
would be
a,
for the fall, though.
so we need to do a public hearing to satisfy the grant requirement of what we have. So we need to finish that out before this is done. But yeah, there will
Did I get it
be,
on there?
there will be a town meeting, planning board, a public hearing. And we're hoping to bring
Oh.
that before you sometime in August.
I wasn't even.
That would be great. Let's not do it like
Just some small letters, it's
October
lovely.
Right, right.
13th.
Yep, and that's one thing we've identified. We want to get it in front of you guys, you know, very late summer, well before
May.
the 4th Monday in October.
Yeah.
And then
But-
series of public meetings.
Yep.
With like highlights, similar to what we did with the general bylaws. These are the challenge, these are the buckets, this is what we did.
I'd like to put 53G back in the agenda at some point.
Okay.
I met with John Foster the day after we passed our first 21 of them way back. He had the state auditors in the next day. They said, we need to address these here, John, these whole bunch of real old numbers. He said, we got rid of 21 of them last night. And they said, very, very good. We need to keep moving on this. So we need to do something. I don't know when that audit was, but we need to, I don't remember.
Office.
But we need to,
Yeah,
Okay.
understood.
We have risk.
When would you like to put it on the agenda? First meeting in February?
Sure.
Okay. I'll do that.
Would it be any help to ask John to appear before us and give us a
John is
report?
retired, he's gone.
Yeah, that's true. His
Who's doing his
successor-
job?
Successor?
It's kind of like Ken retiring?
Let's just say
Dennis.
when I come to work on Fridays, I see John in the office.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I said that because I saw him last week, like, okay, he's there.
He said, it's not my conversation. I'll be around.
Yeah.
Is Ken still around?
I have Ken working on a few projects for us, yeah. But he's entered into a contract with the town and a contract with the redevelopment authority.
So much for retirement.
So, yeah, no, we wouldn't let him go. Well, no, let's be honest, Ken signed his half of the contract as well, so we did not keep him here by force. He wants to continue to help.
Yeah, he said he had some projects he wanted to finish up, so, good.
Yep.
Okay,
Motion adjourned.
second?
All in favor?
Man, I was just getting into this.
Aye.
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 Have a
Merry
wonderful
Christmas.
holiday.
Have a
all.
Merry Christmas, Wareham.